Certificates are a way to add a layer of identity on top of PPK-based encryption. Let's see how it is done and what problem does it solve. The problem solved by the certificate is actually very simple. If you remember from the previous video, at this phase, the server applies a public key to the browser for the next steps of the flow. But the public key is only encryption related stuff. It has nothing to do with identity. So the browser cannot really verify that the public key it received is from the server. It could be that some hackers hijack the connection between the browser and the server, redirect it to another server. They would present a nice login page, looks exactly like the one of the bank. You would provide your user and password, and then the hackers will continue from there. So we need to add a layer of identity at this phase so the browser can trust the public key. How it is done? Technically, it's very simple, technically. Instead of the server replies to the browser with the public key, he replies with a certificate, which is something else. Now we need to discuss two issues. Who issued the certificate, how the server owner got the certificate, and then we need to discuss how the browser trusts this certificate. Let's tackle the first question, how the server owner received the certificate. So the process in general is that the server owner would create a certificate request where he requests a certificate. You would send it to the certificate authority, which is a company that is allowed to issue certificates. Okay, there are a few companies like this in the world. They are trusted by the browser. This is about the second question, we'll see later, but let's concentrate on this one. The server would send a certificate request to the certificate authority, and the certificate authority will reply if everything is okay with the certificate. And this certificate, go back 1 minute in the video, this certificate is what the server is sending to the browser. So let's see the details. What does it mean, create certificate request? First of all, let's see what it contains. The certificate request contains the public key of the server and also an acclaimed identity, who the server owner claims he is. The most simple or common use case is to write the domain in the identity. So if I'm a technician at the bank and my manager asks me to create a certificate, I would write mybank.com as the identity. This is the domain, but it could be some other information. Additional information that is important in the identity part of the certificate request is contact info. Contact info is later needed by the certificate authority in order to verify that I am who I claim I am. So we discuss about creating the certificate request. This is the content of the certificate request, and this is the claimed identity part of the certificate request. Once I created the certificate request, the server owner would send it to the certificate authority. At this point, the certificate authority is doing what it is supposed to do, which is to verify the acclaimed identity. So they get a request. Inside the request says, I am mybank.com, please approve this and send me a certificate which I can show or present to the browser later on. How would such a company check the identity? There are some level of verification as part of the verification process. It could be simple and cheap or complicated and expensive. If it is of any interest to some of you, write me in the description. I will create a video about it, no problem. If everything is okay, they would create the certificate. create a certificate, it means that they create a file where inside is the public key of the requester, the acclaimed identity, now approved identity of the requester, and the public key of the certificate authority. About this last one we will now discuss. In this phase we will answer the other question that we represented before. So now there is a certificate, the server is sending the certificate to the browser, and now the browser needs to verify that the certificate is not a fake one. Okay, because the hackers can create any certificate they want. So how it is done? Very interesting topic. The browser would check. If you go back 1 minute, you remember that inside the certificate there is the public key of the requester, the identity of the requester, but also the public key of the certificate authority. Now the browser is doing something very special. He would extract the certificate authority public key from the certificate and would verify that this is a trusted certificate authority and not a hacker certificate authority. Last question, how this check is done by the browser? Actually, it is very simple. The browser would ask the operating system. The browser would say, dear operating system, I got this certificate authority public key. Is it a trusted one? And if the operating system says that everything is okay, the browser would trust the certificate. I attached here examples from Ubuntu Linux, Red Hat Linux, and Windows Server about the process of installing certificate authorities. Certificate authority, certificate authority. This is on the level of the operating system. Usually the Linux admin, the system admin in your company will do it. They will install in advance to your operating system the certificate authorities. So when the browser is asking the operating system if he can trust, the answer would be yes. So this is how it's done. Once the browser trusts the certificate, he will do additional check. He would verify that the URL that the user put of the server is identical to the URL inside the identity of the certificate. Remember, we said that inside the certificate there is the identity, the claimed identity, and mostly it is the URL. So the browser needs to verify that if the user is browsing to mybank.com and he gets the certificate, the browser would look inside the certificate for the identity and would verify that this certificate is of mybank.com. If it would be presented by mybank.hacker inside the identity, the browser will give you this message of cannot trust the connection. How to continue from now? We were now watching this video about certificates. I hope that before you watched also the video about browser server negotiation. If not, you are welcomed. And also about PPK itself. Now what is left is 3 additional usages of PPK. One in SSH communication, one in digital signature, and one in mutual authentication. So I hope it was interesting, and thank you.